thank you for being here. And I'd also like to ask if you can speak to us about the place that animals and other life forms have on a spiritual level on the earth, and how we can work with animals and...
Yes. We just would like to clarify so that we are sure that we are understanding correctly. So when you are asking about, you said animals and other life forms, so are you speaking of so sort of the nature of the animal, and it's are you asking about its purpose here? Are you asking about we want to be sure to understand what your query is?
I guess I'll leave it specifically to animals. There was something else there, but I can't quite describe what that other question is. So I'll just leave it to, if you can speak to us about the spiritual place animals have for us here on this planet.
Well, first and foremost, we would say that the animals and any other beings that you might have been referencing as well, including human beings, all sort of have the same spiritual place. Meaning that although you take on different roles, if you will, and there are different expressions of spirit, that you all sort of have a place. Now, if we are looking at the spirit of animals per se, the way that we describe this is that the animals are part and parcel with your mother nature, if you will. You understand? And so they are sort of living beings and spirit within their beings, within their physical bodies. Also is energy and spirit. At times, this energy and spirit is not quite as separate from us and the ethers and the earth itself. If you were to imagine that the earth itself is its own living, breathing entity. Okay? We're going to try to break it down for your best understanding. So the living, breathing earth is its own entity or energy, right? And the trees, the plants, the animals, all of that are all a part of or a piece of that living, breathing entity. And so you may notice that animals are much more connected very often than your average human being. Animals are able to pick up, they're much more in tune with and sensitive to things going on around them. You know, when an animal is around someone who may have ill will, right, you see that animal often will express that, whether it is through your four-legged dog or your four-legged feline or any number of other four-legged, yes? Where it may growl, it may stay away, it may run away. Very often they can tell the character of a person because they are very connected to their senses. Humans are as well, but you all have spent so much time sort of building up the brain and the mind and industry and everything around you that for many people, and we speak in generalities here, of course, for many people, that those sensitivities are not as heightened as they used to be. So animals will know when you are not feeling well, yes? Many people speak of their animals being healing animals. What we say to you is that all animals are healing animals. Some of them may be more aware of what they're doing, but all animals, all of Mother Nature, all of the beings that walk upon her, that are a part or a piece of her, are healers, that they are here to heal. They are here to bring us messages. They're here to remind us of the characteristics of us. They're here to remind us of our connection to them and to the earth. You have in your world now, many of you have what you would call your, although some are averse to this terminology, but what you call your pets, yes, where you, part of this is that you have become so separated from all of the animals, from all of the earth. But that need, that desire to have that love and that energy with animals has stayed with you. It has not left you. And so you've found new ways to sort of merge in that way. And so many of you may have animals in your homes, yes, that you develop a special relationship with. Some of these animals may live with you for a short time or a long time. Some of you may not own any animals, but you may have a special relationship with particular types of animals, or perhaps you prefer to go out into the wild and see the animals there, or the fish in the sea, or the birds in the sky, yes? And so all of these things are here. They're all expressions of the earth, and they're all expressions of you. To remind you, for instance, in many of your, what you call, olden ways, yes? In many of the olden times, there was a time when we would sit and we would notice an animal. And that animal would be like a medicine for us. That animal would deliver us something that we needed, whether it be personally or for the tribe. When we were struggling, when we were having difficulty, perhaps individually, something might come along, a deer might come along to remind us, or to remind you, to walk gently upon the earth. Perhaps a cheetah comes along to remind you to have lightning speed in a situation that you are dealing with. All of these things are expressions and characteristics, not only of the earth, but also of you. It is just as you see, you are all connected to them as well, whether you own or allow these beings. We do not like own. You open your home to these beings and to their love. You see, very often, it is the one thing that also softens the humans. Because these beings do not have the same or use the same faculties as the humans. They have a consciousness, they have a brain, but they do not, they analyze in terms of what they need to do to get to their next place, or what they need to do to get their next meal, or what they need to do to find shelter, to be dry from the rain. But they do not get caught up in the ifs, the ands, or the buts of things as the human mind tends to do. And so they are your connection to the simplicity that is you. They are your connection to the healing that you need. They are your connection to the earth. They are the living, breathing earth itself. When we speak of those that you refer to as the animals, we see them as, just as we see you, as spirits that have donned a costume, yes? And so, very often, in the old ways we may speak that the Creator spoke through these animals, that the Creator would send a particular animal. And this is just. Because you see, if it is a part of Creator, and you are a part of Creator, and this being, this animal has been sent to you, whether it is out in your pastures or in your own home, it is there, it has come to you to be a mirror to you of the things that can help you to slow down the mind and to remember your connection. Not only to them, but that the two of you are the same. Have you ever had the experience where you are sitting with a being, a four-legged one, or a winged one, and there is just this moment. Perhaps your eyes are staring at each other, or perhaps you're just in each other's presence, and there seems to be no separation. It seems as though you are just fully merged into one energy. And again, it is then that you remember that, yes, the two of you merge your energies together, but even these merged energies are a small part of the greater whole of all of the energies. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes. And so we very often, and there are many movements, if you will, in your world today, to support, to see animals with more kindness, and to, because for very often many people were having, and still do, some who would open their homes to these beings and then might look at them as though they are throwaways, because they look at them as though they are not of equal value, yes? And so what we say is that now there's many movements to, what do you call, to save your animals? What do you call this word? What do you call this? Rescue? Mm-hmm. Your rescue programs? Mm-hmm. Yes. Things such as that, yes? That is set up and designed because more and more people are awakening. Their consciousness is lifting to recognizing that these are not just as some of your consciousnesses are awakening, that a tree is also a living, breathing being, and that they should not just be chopped down. For when you chop one down, you're chopping off a part of the earth. When you dispose of a being, of an animal, or even a human, you are chopping off a part of the earth, of that which is the living, breathing earth. Do you understand? Yeah. We do not know if we have answered your question, for this is a question that, in truth, we could go on and on about, because there are so many different levels and layers of this. But we are trying to be as concise and condense as much as possible for your understanding.
Thank you.
And so you do. Does that answer? Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much.